Okay, so this video is just to help with the riffs of Master of Puppets. So we're mainly just going to be, we're just going to be concentrating on the main riffs. We won't worry about things like the introduction or any of the fills or so forth. It'll just be working right on the riffs. Um, so, um, and I'll refer to them as how they're written in the tablature slash notated music plus tablature, like riff 1B, riff number 2 verse, riff number 3 verse, pre-chorus, and so forth. And we'll only do, in this video, we'll only do the riffs for riff number 1, or in this case riff number 1B, and the riff number 2 and riff number 3, which are the verse, riff number 4, which is the pre-chorus, and riff number 5, which is the chorus. Now, in my transcription of it, the last time they play the chorus, it's played a bit simpler. Like one of the licks is, one of the variations is left out, and he plays a simpler riff, as far as I can tell. But they're basically mostly the same. And I'll do a brief explanation of the riff and what Cliff is doing there. Now, he does do a lot of different variations of some of the riffs, but generally I kept to what he was doing most of the time, and I'll explain that as I go along. So with riff 1B, that's the one where James Hetfield is playing a chromatic riff, and then Cliff Burton is playing obviously a similar rhythm, but he doesn't play the chromatic part exactly the same as James Hetfield does. He's just doing something underneath it. He's giving it a layer underneath for the guitar riff to really shine above that. There's actually a really cool video by the educator and YouTuber Rick Beato where he talks about that, which I'll either send you the link for or link below in the video. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll play it all at 150 beats per minute. All these riffs will be at 150 beats per minute. And the other riffs, which come after the second chorus and during and after the interlude, we'll discuss later. I'll make another video about that. I'll also make another video just showing, playing the verse riffs and progressively getting faster and faster. But in this case, this video will just be the riff 1, the 2 verse riffs, the pre-chorus, and the chorus. And they'll all be at 150 beats per minute. And the drum tracks I did for riff 1B is pretty much the same as what Lars Ulrich is playing. He does do, again, a few different variations the second time, but we keep it to basically the basic idea. And that's the same with the 2 verse riffs. Especially those ones, because they have that 5/8 bar. That's going to be a very difficult one to just play along with a metronome. So those drum beats are very important. And then the pre-chorus, I wrote the drum track basically what Lars Ulrich is doing as well. Now for the chorus riffs, I pretty much just made a track to emphasize the 4/4 beat and the 2/4 beats. Like for instance, most of it starts off with a 4/4 beat, then it goes into 2/4, then it's 2 more bars of 4/4, but it changes a little bit as it goes along. Like for instance, like there's 4/4, 2/4, then 2/4/4 bars, and then exactly the same for the next 4 bars. But then the next 3 bars, it's only a 3-bar riff. 4/4 bar, 2/4 bar, 4/4 bar, and then the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, next 6 bars, well, there's a 6-bar phrase, 4/4, 2/4, 4/4, 2/4, and then 4/4, and then another 4/4 bar, and then the last 6 bars are 4/4, 2/4, and then 4/4 for the next 4 bars. So there are a lot of like time changes within this song, which makes it a bit more difficult. So anyway, I'll generally just go through these once through. I'll do a brief explanation. Now, riff 1B, I'll play it just as it is. So it's obviously refer to the chart that I gave you for this, and I referenced all this along with what Cliff is playing in the isolated track, and also with what you can hear in the original recording. So anyway, I'll play it at 150 beats per minute. Cool. So anyway, before we go to riff number 2, the verse, I'll just discuss it a little bit and play through it slowly. The main thing to watch for is the 5/8 bar. Now, the guitars, as far as I can tell, and how I've been playing it on guitar all these years, is just like this. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But what I could tell from the isolated track, Cliff actually plays another open note in there, where he goes like this, or so it's after he does the first 0, 3, 5, he puts a quick open note before doing the 3, 5 again, or the G to A. So it's E, G, A, E, G, A, but it's quick because it has to get within that 5/8 bar and link up with 5/8 bar and link up with the guitars as well. Now, what I've done, so as you know, if you're playing the bass line just like the guitar, it's like this. But what you find is when you enter that quick open note, the end part will actually feel a lot longer, which it is because you're putting that quick open note. 1, 2, 3. And what I've got here is I'm going to play through that 5/8 bar for both riff number 2 verse and riff number 3 verse. I'll play through that 8 times as how Cliff plays it on the isolated track. So at 150 beats per minute. So we'll just do that just to hear it, and it's something you can practice to as well. So you can always rewind and practice along. 2, 3, 4. Cool. So, and also I'll send you the tracks for this as well. Now I'll do that again, but this time for the second verse, riff number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do that again. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that wasn't perfect, of course, but I mean, it's something that I think is good to practice to so that you have it down before you do the whole riff. Now, just going through them, riff number 2 verse is like this. Etc. So it's a lot of sliding and so forth. So that's the easier one. But anyway, I'll play it along with the drum track here at 150 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. as you can tell, I played it 8 times through. So you can obviously rewind it and play along with it as well. So rather than playing it 6 times through or 4 times through like in the recording, it's good to practice it at 8 times through if you're just practicing that riff. And the main thing is, like, as long as you get the 3 to 5 or G to A on the beat, that's fine. That's what you should be aiming for. So anyway, moving right along, I'll do it for riff number 3 verse. Now this one's interesting because when I was listening to his bass track, I could hear that he was adding like a few more pedal notes that the guitar isn't. You know, the guitar goes like that, or for those sections of the riff, but I kind of heard that he was putting an F pedal point. That's what I could hear, and when I played along with it, that's what sounded fine. So what I'm doing for that part, when he does this, what I'm doing is I've got my first finger on the 2nd fret, open note on the A string, hammer on, and then I use my 3rd finger, pluck that and slide back down, and then back to the 2nd fret on the 4th string, and hit that again, and then hit the open A string and hammer on like that. So I'm kind of flatting my finger a lot, like, and I'm putting more emphasis on this part of my finger so that when I get back down to the F sharp, I can just bend it like that, and I'm back. So it's like this. So yeah, that's like, I'll try and do it again. And then I'm back. And with the 5/8 bar, I'm going like this. Sometimes I'm hitting that note a bit there, but when you're playing at speed, it doesn't really come out. That was better. So without further ado, I'll play that part all together. And instead of on the track where he only plays it twice through, on this I'll do it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I might do now is I'll go through those 2 again, because they're very important riffs to get down. And this will just give you another, you know, you can watch it again and practice through with it again, but I'll do them one after the other. So riff number 2 verse, I'll do 8 times, and riff number 3 verse, I'll do 4 times plus that fill at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. So anyway, we're going on to the pre-chorus now. So this I'll play once through the whole of it, and it's pretty much to, the drum track is very much based on what Lars Ulrich is doing. One, two, three, four. I'll play through that again, but before I do, I'll just describe exactly what he's doing. Um, so it's very similar to the guitar track, and what I could tell from what he was doing most of the time, the riff that the guitar is doing up here, he most of the times he doubles that down here. Like there could be a few times where he just does this, which is cool, but he only does that once or twice, if at all. But I could hear him maybe do that, but generally most of the time he's if not all the time, he's doubling it but an octave lower and then doing this. Oh, whoops. Like that. And that B is pretty good to go back to because you go back to the E. So I'll play through that one more time, all the way through. So riff number 4, the pre-chorus. Cool, so now we're up to the chorus. So this one, as I was describing at the beginning, it changes a lot to 2/4 in certain bars. But most of it's in 4/4, but just that 2/4 bar can be quite a trippy thing. So you gotta watch that. And it's, I mean, the riff is so well written that it's very seamless. I'll just run through the parts without the drum track. But it's like he does different, well, the guitars are mostly like holding the chords whilst Cliff is doing a specific type of rhythm, which I'll go through the parts. Like the first 4 bars are like this. The next 4 bars are like this. So he puts that octave in there. And then the next 3 bars are like this. Oh, I'll do that again. So it's. And then the next 6 bars are like this. It has a couple of 2/4 bars. Whilst in the next 6 bars, it'll just go back to 4/4. It'll only have 1 2/4 bar, but the next 6 bars are like this. The last 6 bars before you go back to riff 1 or riff 1B, and then the second time you go through it to the interlude are like this. So anyway, I'll play it with the drum track. Now, I really emphasize the difference between 4/4 and 2/4 with a big crash cymbal that you'll hear. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're all the main riffs before the interlude. And the next video I make will just be concentrating on riff number 2, the verse, and riff number 3, the verse. And I'll progressively get faster and faster. And I'll give a bit more of an explanation of how to practice that in the next video. And then the next video, which I'll make later on and put up, will be the remaining riffs, like that happen at the interlude and then after the interlude. And of course at that part the band repeats a lot of the the other sections in the song, like the verses and the pre-chorus and the chorus again. All right.